I just had the pleasure of interviewing the game director from Tribes 1, Star Siege Tribes 1, Scott Youngblood. This all came together very serendipitously. We were hosting a celebration of Tribes' 26th birthday just yesterday, and we were playing a bunch of base games, and he actually just popped into my stream. We invited him into Discord, and we sat around and talked with Scott Youngblood for over an hour, myself asking a bunch of questions coming from the community as well. So if you love this game as much as I do, stay tuned for the interview.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you guys still play this game, man. We had no idea what we were making when we made it, and it came out of nowhere, and it worked.
I mean, I guess, like, I've read all the articles about, like, how the netcode was wizardry and how everything, and I mean, I just go into it in my recent video that I put out, just, like, how much stuff in Tribes was basically brand new. Like, what kind of, did you just have the most craziest technical wizardry on that team? Like, how did you build such a crazy deep game, especially back then when most games were just arena shooters running around picking up weapons?
Oh, yeah, super smart people and no control over our creativity, right? We didn't have any managers telling us what we were supposed to make. We only had a mandate that we had to make something that was going to beat Quake, right? And so when we looked at like what that challenge was going to be, like there were, you looked at Quake and the gameplay that it had, and like, well, how can we possibly beat that? It was like, well, what don't they have? It was the outdoor landscapes plus the mobility, right? And that's where, actually, it was Thresh. The Thresh beating everybody in the Quake tournament kind of convinced us that like mobility was the shit, and so we leaned heavily into jetpacks after that.
Yeah.
Oh god damn it.
Actually, this is just a random tidbit, but I actually work with Thresh today. He's the CEO
nice.
of a company called GGWP, and I work with the company that they spun out, so I get to work with Thresh.
He played Tribes. He came and played our game. And
oh, yeah?
Well, it took him about half an hour to learn the mechanics, but both Thresh and Cornelia, we brought them down to play our game for a day, and holy shit, they got really good at it very fast.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite map?
A map that I play or a map that I made?
Either. Yeah.
My favorite map that I made, I would say, is Roller Coaster.
Oh, hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Legendary, bro.
And the reason that map was made is because, like, holy shit, I understood skiing, and I understood it from, like, okay, think about waves, and how would you, like, that map is like surfing.
It's Emerald Valley? Holy crap.
So I actually have a very stupid question. How come you guys never fixed the stupid floating point math in the Darkstar engine? It's like the bane of everyone who mods.
Yeah, that was outside of my game designer control, so I can't answer that question.
Boo.
That was like the deepest technical question possible.
Dude, 26 years later, it haunts my dreams.
This guy's been waiting for this moment for 30 years after.
He taxi cabbed you. So, would you say the amount of girls you got went up after this game increased?
No, because
you don't lie to us.
No, I was married when I started to make this game, and she actually, my wife Janice, called herself the Tribe's widow because I was working all the time, and when I wasn't working, I had a jazz drive and I'd bring it home, and I would work until I went to bed, and then I'd get up and I'd go back to work.
That's
I mean,
awesome,
we were so addicted to what we were doing. It's like it was pure passion.
That's the only way to do it.
Yeah. Kind of look back on those times, like maybe a more balanced approach would have been better. I don't know.
No, we're happy that you worked yourself to the bone. It worked
Yeah.
out for all of us who.
Really, you only got 2 Tribes games out of me, so I don't know. Maybe I could have done more.
They were the best.
That's
two.
true.
I don't know if you've
That's
seen
true.
it.
Yeah, they were the best
It's
too.
not
What are
good.
you talking about?
You're the only two.
There's been plenty of follow-ups.
Yeah,
Not
they all
great ones. They were not great, dude.
I did not cast lightning in the bottle twice, 3 times, 8 times.
Legions was okay. Legion's Overdrive was okay.
So when I got recruited from Sony to go work at Red 5 Studios for Firefall, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that game or
You
not.
worked on Firefall
course.
too. Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
That was
yeah.
I was
right?
I was the lead designer on that, and so Mark Kern, who was the CEO at the time, asked me like, should we buy the Tribes license and make this a Tribes game? And I thought about it for a while, and I said no. And the reason that
Come
I said no
on.
is because I knew that we weren't going to make the game the momentum game the Tribes players expected.
Mm.
But Tribes
Hey.
RPG wouldn't have been bad.
Tribes RPG would have been something different, but that's not what we were trying to sell, right? And I didn't want to sell people a false promise.
Good for
And
you,
in
man.
hindsight, I wish I had said, yeah, let's buy it just to stop Hi-Res from doing that bullshit, but whatever.
True that.
Yeah.
Oh, the tea, the tea.
What'd you think about Ascend when it came out?
What did I think about it? It was a good attempt. Right? I mean, they had some elements. They had some field aspects. They got some of the stuff right, but they kind of half-assed most of it.
Yeah.
Not nearly as much as they half-assed Tribes 3. That was
Yeah,
Yeah.
this last
that
one
game's
was.
already
I was
cool,
hoping it was going to be better. I'm there with you, right? I mean, you know, I want a good Tribes game.
yeah.
They're different
Mhm.
things for different reasons. Like, I think with Tribes Ascend, they actually tried. They tried with it bad, but they tried. With T3, it was literally just them going, we have no money. What do we have? We have Tribes assets. Cool, make a thing.
Oh, they
The
wanted
only
to
good
milk
thing
their
about the only
license.
good thing about Tribes 3 is that it's gotten so many people back into 1 and 2 again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Yeah.
even Midair and even like even Tribes Vengeance like has a player base these days. It's kind of cool. No matter what Tribes game you play, you actually, it's probably like as good of a time as it's been in the last decade to play that Tribes game.
I only started looking stuff up because I saw Tribes 3 videos, and in like the comments and shit, people were like, "We're still playing Tribes 1," and I was like, "No fucking way."
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Likewise. Except for me, it was Raiders.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's a
Raiders.
testament to the feel, though, right? I mean, like you find something that has a feel like that. It's like unless something else replaces it, you still love that feel.
Did you
Absolutely.
ever play? Did you ever play
Dude,
Titanfall?
nothing's beat Tribes.
Techno what?
Titanfall with
Oh,
EPG?
Titanfall.
Yeah, with the EPG
Yeah, I
Titanfall
did.
too.
Played some Titanfall.
Yeah, the
It's good.
EPG was awesome in that game. Felt exactly like a plasma gun. It's really good.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about the game in ages though.
You know, I look at what Tribes did and just the other games that have like taken the elements and done way cooler things based on that. It's awesome, right? And that's the best thing that you can hope as a game developer is like what you do is impactful for the people that follow you.
Did you see the article that somebody wrote? I think it was back in 2018 for the 20th anniversary about how the guys who made the football mod in Tribes 1 ended up going to work on, they ended up creating Rocket League, or at least involved in creating Rocket League.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. Like that's cool
which
stuff,
is
right?
crazy, right? Like modders from Tribes 1 then went on to launch their own successful, a game you could argue is sort of like an FPSZ in the sense that, you know, it's like a three-dimensional soccer
It
game.
was, right? Because it had that whole vertical element that was
Yep.
incredibly hard to master. I sucked at it.
Yeah, I thought that was a really interesting tidbit. But I don't know if you saw the article. I'll link it to you. It was a pretty good write up, and I think
he's
they actually
quoted in
quote.
the article quite a
Yeah,
bit.
I was gonna say that's right. He must have interviewed you. I forget the guy's name. He'd written a book.
Yeah.
And he's
It's
also
It's Ben Lindbergh. I was also in that article as well. That was a really good. I think it was the definitive article on Tribes 1 for sure. It's really good article.
Yeah, good stuff, man.
Anyone have any other questions for Scott? Well, we
You gonna
have
get
him.
in this game tonight or what?
I
Show some
actually don't
skills.
have it installed right now, unfortunately.
PlayT1.com.
That sounds
And
pretty
Eric, you
lame.
can download in 2 seconds.
It's
Could.
only 191 megabytes.
I'm also really fucking drunk.
hell yeah, that's what I'm talking
The best
about.
way to play it.
Dude, I do the same
on-
thing. Find out that people are still playing.
So what? There was a lot of
How
questions.
did you find out? How did you find out that people are still playing?
Well, Fish Sticks linked me the story that he just wrote recently, which was pretty awesome. He was trying to get me to do an interview, which I completely ignored him. Sorry, Fish Sticks.
Good.
I will do a follow up. Like let's do
Yeah.
it for real.
let's do it.
Yeah.
That would be super cool, and I can actually come up with some better questions. I
Yeah,
mean, like,
do like a community thing now that you've got some time, some prep time.
yeah,
See,
could do
see what
that.
people want to know, and I'll make up some stupid shit.
sounds good. I'm curious because I'm like super biased towards the competitive side of things. Like that's always been what I'm interested in with tribes is like the competition and then following everything. I'm curious, were you watching any of like the demos of the top teams play, and what did you think of the emerging kind of competitive community with like literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of teams playing on OGL and TWL?
We love that shit. I mean, that's kind of where Tribes came from because Mark and I both played Quake competitively before we made Tribes. So we were part of the OGL league. Yeah, Quake 1. And so we were part of that. You know, we were very into the competitive scene in terms of, you know, just the team aspect, right? And I love that shit. I mean, for me, it was like holy crap, it's like we're playing like team games but in a video game. Like I had never seen this shit before, you know. And so we wanted to run with that, and we really did. And we ran with it in ways that like the people that made like, so I call the father of CTF Zoid, three-wave CTF. Like that guy, he was the guy that made like kind of what we followed with, like following up on CTF, right? And after we had shipped, he sent me an email, and he was like, "Holy crap!" It's like, and his whole kind of point was he was amazed at like the voice like integration that we had done, and for me that was like what was lacking in what he had done. And so this whole like he did something cool, I did something cool, and we both like together acknowledged what we'd done and how it had advanced everything. And that's what I look at video games as being, is like y'all do cool shit. We'll learn from each other, and you do better shit on top of it, right? And that's awesome.
Oh, it's beautiful. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So it was almost designed to be a esport. I mean, the term esport didn't exist back then. But I guess that's pretty evident in the whole capture the flag thing. Like, it's the closest thing to a sport that you could get, pretty much.
Yeah, and all the different game types, and like, had some mistakes. Like, I would call the commander map as like, well, I wanted people to be able to organize, but did they really want to organize? Like, who tells you what to do in a video game? Like, you want to be the master of your own destiny. And so there were plenty of mistakes. Like, look at all the multiple 3-team maps, or like all that shit that didn't work, right? It's like it got too complicated, or the other game types that didn't work. There were lots of failures in Tribes.
I don't know if I would call them failures though. So like, don't forget what you guys built was this sort of like, it's, think about how flexible what you built was, right? Like, yeah, like looking at it as a finished product, you might go, oh, 3-team maps, this, that, and the other thing aren't good. But like, when you look at it as a blank slate for other people to build on top of, like, I would call that wildly successful because it created so many unique opportunities that didn't exist in any other game.
All right, I'll give you that.
Yeah, and we still use the command map extensively, not so much for like telling people what to do, but like popping it up as you're skiing along, seeing where your teammates are so you can coordinate like on offense. And people have built some really cool like little mods, like a capper cam. You could like pull up a video of the person's screen and the command screen. They've built like a capper cam that pulls up a full screen of like someone else's screen, and like they've like auto waypointing your flag carrier so you can follow them. Like so even though you may think like, oh, the original intention didn't work, we still use all those features all the time as we play. In LT, which is obviously a mod of the original base, but like we're still using all those core features, so we think they're great. So I wouldn't sell yourself short on some of those.
I hear what you're saying, but like a lot of the features that we put into that map, like no one wanted to do, right? Like, okay, there was too much complication for what should have been information. Like what you're talking about was the important part.
Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah, you didn't necessarily need to be able to issue commands and like do some of that stuff, but yeah, the information is fantastic, and again, we use it all the time.
And Quake did not have a map like that. I'm just saying.
Quake still doesn't have a map. You have to
But when you're coming out with that kind of stuff, you never know like what people are going to use and build on at the time. So it's cool that There was so much stuff from the get-go, and like whether or not it caught on or not, like it's awesome that any of it was there, and then so many people just built upon it. And then that's the cool thing about tribes, is that there's so many ways to kind of make it your own, and even like all the separate communities that spawned off of it, with like all the different mods, even just because you can do that.
Yeah.
I think in general, that's something I miss about old games that modern games don't have, is just the ability to customize, like for obvious reasons, right? Like the ability to cheat in a modern game is high if you have exposed, everything is exposed, all the scripts, all the HUD, all that shit is exposed. But like that's something I miss is games like Tribes, where like it was just all open. It's all there to just to futz with.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of the point. Is like let the players decide what the game is and what the rules are, and adapt to physics, right?
Mhm.
It's not about you fall 5 feet, you get this amount of fall damage. It's like, no, it's all about physics and what you can do. And that's what I feel like a lot of games kind of miss these days, is like that true freedom.
Absolutely.
Pretty much all of my favorite games have really fun movement. That's like the fundamental. That's what I look for pretty much everywhere that I go, and I think Rocket League is like a very pure form of that as well.
Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna grab a beer. I'll be AFK for like 5 minutes, and I'll be right back.
Thanks for joining us, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Crazy, like
Yeah, it's so awesome, man.
think about like how foundational this guy is. Like,
Yeah.
we don't even know this guy. Like, he's so fucking wildly important to what we're fucking doing right now. I
That's
don't
what
know.
got me into my degree that I'm studying for right now, bro.
What's up?
Sick. Yeah, dude, that means a lot to me.
That's dope.
Game time. Yeah, dude, I'm doing computer engineering because of that guy.
Hell yeah.
Editing
That's so sick.
scripts.
I
I
mean,
was editing scripts and Tribes 2 with my dad when I was little.
Nice. Where are you going to school at?
University of Illinois.
Alright.
Oh shit.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, dude. I remember doing like cloaking snipers and shit in mouse mod.
I wonder how
So
many
dumb.
people like became engineers because they started scripting in Tribes 1 and 2.
honestly, I'm in that group.
Yeah.
I didn't go to fucking college or nothing. Fuck that shit. But
I'm 40K in debt right now, dude.
Hey,
Don't do
so,
it.
newsflash, I dropped out of college because of this game.
I went into computer science because of this game in college. Didn't lead to in the field, but
Yeah. I was going to the University of Oregon, and I was in my 3rd year of studies, and I was taking an 18-hour credit load while working at Dynamix 60 hours a week.
Gee.
Yeah, it was rough.
no way.
So I didn't go to any of the labs. But, the way that the University of Oregon worked their things, they had these classes called clusters that you had to take one in the spring, one in the fall, or three over the year. Right.
Attack enemy at
So the first cluster I got an A, second cluster I got an A,
Ooh, nice shot.
third one I got a D. The reason that I got a D is because they weighted the lab so heavily, and so I went and I lobbied my guy who was teaching the class, who was also my advisor. Granted, this is my 3rd year at the university, and so I lobbied him and I'm like, hey, I got a D in this, and the reason that I got a D is because I didn't do any of the labs because I'm working 60 hours a week at Dynamix and taking a 16-hour credit load, and this is not untenable. And then I pointed to the scores that he had posted on his fucking cork board, which had like a 4-digit code and then like your test scores. And I was the top of his list. It's like, I am your top student. I have scored the top of all your tests. I do not want to wait a year just to get my degree. And he looked at me and said, I don't think you know the material. I'm like, isn't that what your tests are for? Anyway, so I withdrew from the university that day. And then, funny part was, we needed to hire people to teach our newer programmers at Dynamix C++, so that guy ended up working for me.
Shit.
That's awesome.
Wait,
Dude,
so
that
you
is
were
awesome.
how young were you when you were building Tribes 1?
Yeah, working on Tribes 1.
He was 12.
20, 21.
Wow.
I was young.
And you were the
Holy
lead.
shit, I'm
How'd
21
you
now.
become the lead game designer at such a young age?
Tenacity.
Tenacity. There you go.
Yeah, right person at the right place, right time.
It also
That's
helps
so
that
awesome,
he was
man.
probably like the youngest guy there that could work like an
No,
animal.
we were all super young. Everybody was young there.
God damn, dude, that's awesome.
I mean, Dynamix was started by a bunch of high school students from South Eugene High School.
Really?
Yeah. 4 guys.
Attack enemy at waypoint.
That's great.
I'm still friends with.
Any fun stories that haven't been told or that people may not know?
Yeah, tell us about the bioderms. What was the idea for that?
No, that wasn't my
Other than
idea.
badass.
That was Sean Sharp's idea. Anyway, no, I don't know whose idea the bioderms was, but you know, Tribes 2, we had bioderms. I don't know if you guys remember that whole E3 build. I mean, we had a very interesting E3 build that we showed. Had the bioderms and with the whole water, and there was some cool shit that was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Hit the deck.
None of that stuff ever happened.
What was Tribes Extreme gonna be like?
Tribes 2.
Tribes 2?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a stepping stone towards that, right? To add content in between.
Mm-hmm.
Need
I remember being pretty bummed when I heard that it was canceled.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens in software.
Yep.
Do any of you guys make games?
Kind of
Make is a strong word.
toy with.
Toy with is still making. If you're screwing around with the Unreal Engine, it still counts.
Nah, I don't touch UE.
Or
I
whatever.
make Quake maps still. Quake 3.
Attaboy.
Dude, I mean, that's hardcore.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, that's what I do for fun.
I mean, the old school tools were harder to use than the new school tools, so I mean, you got some skills.
I don't know, man. I disagree. The Tribes editor was perfect.
I wouldn't say that. It was ahead of its time, though.
Attack enemy at waypoint.
I mean,
It was definitely ahead of its time.
Okay, this was something really fun with my recent video that has since gotten literally thousands of comments across Reddit and YouTube.
Attack enemy
One of the
at
most
waypoint.
common ones I saw, which I identified with, was, oh, I loved Tribes. I played it in my computer lab at school. And like
Yup.
built stupid maps with my friend, and I'm like, yeah, I did that. I built weird maps using like some of the pre-made stuff. I made like mazes and stuff. I was really, it was funny to see that was such a common
Attack
reply.
enemy at waypoint.
Yeah.
I think it was important to release an editor. You know, it's like, I only have so many ideas. Like, what are your fucking ideas?
No
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, my computer science 3 class in high school was literally nothing but Star Siege Tribes.
Yeah, Quake 3, Team Arena.
Yeah.
In college, dude.
I mean, the modding scene for Tribes 1 is absolutely crazy. Like, I've still never played Tribes RPG, and I don't really know what it's about, but it seems like it's an... There's always... There's always
they're
10
still
people
developing
playing Tribes RPG. They're always in there. I'm like, what?
So I think they've developed bots that they use to like level up their characters, but they're still developing. Here, I'm gonna link this just because I want to show it to.
Put out a patch a few months ago, right?
Yeah, I want to share this just
Fucking
to
crazy.
Scott because I don't know if he would ever have expected something like this to have been made. So I'm gonna link this once I find it. It's just a video that they made.
This
I'm gonna put
fucking oath sniping is still killing me, dude.
I'm gonna put it in the
Sorry.
I'm linking this in the general chat. So this is Tribes RPG. These guys are still actively developing new content, and they recently made like a dragon that you can fly around and control, and it shoots plasma like fireballs and stuff. It's like the Tribes RPG guys are so cool. Like they just keep working.
Awesome.
Like they've built a whole world. It's basically like World of Warcraft. They've got like a whole World of Warcraft.
In tribes.
Yeah, in tribes, fully first person.
Wild.
You'll see a little boat comes by later. Like they're just like they're just doing crazy stuff. And it's like I'll pop in every once in a while just to see what they're working on. It's so cool.
Well, we were supposed to have a single player game. Tribes. Because Quake had a single player game. Like, oh no, we must have that. And so we focused on the multiplayer stuff first, and do we need a single player game?
Get the enemy flag.
I mean, wasn't Tribes one of the very first games ever not to have a single player?
Get the
It is the first, the very first.
The very first.
Multiplayer only game.
I totally didn't even say that in my video. That is like such an important tidbit that I should have said in my video. Damn.
People don't even think about that. How in like even in the late '90s, like even people with computers, not everybody had the internet, and not everybody had, even 56K.
But we still
it was
played
like
like
a
a
wild
motherfucker on a 56K modem.
Yeah, no, but I mean, but even not everyone even had that though. I meant, you know what I mean? Let alone like DSL and cable and all that.
Yeah, but even with a shitty connection, you could still play.
Oh,
Tribes
I've
code for
never
when it
played
came out.
with a low ping until this year.
Cat. Oh my god.
I know that. I mean, that's something that that's in like the article, Ben Lindbergh's article. He talks a lot about how the netcode was just kind of wizardry for the time.
Jesus netcode.
I just mean though, like back then though, like even when
Mark
games had
Frommeyer.
multiplayer, it meant like maybe 2 to 4 people at tops, doing like LAN stuff. There wasn't really that many games.
This server code can support up to 128 players. I don't know if you guys have tried it, but it can.
Oh, we've tried it.
And
least I have.
who would have thought it could have supported that back then?
Shit, I don't think there were actual consumer machines back then that could support 120 players.
Oh.
I played in some of the servers that was like 64 on my Pentium 2 with 56K, and like as soon as the server got like loaded up or you went towards like a place in the map where anything was happening with lots of people, everything just like basically lag out until I died.
No.
I still own the machine that I used to develop this game.
Whoa.
Oh wow.
Pentium Pro.
Sell that shit.
Yeah, make some money, bro.
Sell that
Don't
shit.
sell
to
that
the-
shit. Hold on to
Sell
that
the source
forever.
code
It's
to
an
Reddit.
heirloom.
I think
Yeah,
Run a
yeah.
server on it.
mortar turret will take that. I think.
I'll sell you a T1 that ran Renegades.
Attack enemy at waypoint. How's that feel?
Yeah, plus all my jazz drives with all the source code. Yeah, I still have all that shit.
No way. You have the tribe.
You have the source code? Oh
You son
man.
of a bitch, you got it. How much money do we need to give you to just get it? Because it would be so good. It'd be so good to have that.
It would.
Attack enemy at
We got like
waypoint.
2
Surprised
guys.
Mark never took a copy of it. What a dipshit.
Attack enemy
Are you
at
working on
waypoint.
anything right now? Are you involved in like that balls?
So Mark and I still live in the same town, and we still hang out and get drunk together quite regularly.
Oh yeah.
Talking about working on Shazballs. I don't know if it's gonna
Nice.
happen or not. It's one of those things that it might happen, it might not.
Yeah, there's some fun FPSC games in development. Shazballs, Midair. There's a thing called Jetpack Battle. A guy had made a game called Axial Drift that he's since stopped working on, but he got pretty close to like the T1 stuff. It's cool to see that people are still so invested, like just in the space in general, and like we're all waiting for that next, like, true successor, which I don't think we've had, since you guys sort of got out of the game.
Shazballs is interesting, but it's not Tribes.
Yeah.
Our flag is
I haven't
Can I
enough
talk
about
Mark
it.
into doing another Tribes? That's debatable.
Would you work for the traders at High Res?
at waypoint.
Oh.
Ugh, don't curse like that.
No, I met Ares a couple of times, and I can't
I'm sorry
say
about
that. I can't say that he made a good impression on me.
Oh man, don't get me started. I tried so hard to try and like help them make T3 a little bit better and tried and market and all that stuff, and yeah, it's not a good use of my time, but yeah, it was still fun. I enjoyed it.
All
Do
I
you
know is that
think
Eras
that
has
tribes
a-
like could be successful today? That's an interesting question.
Yeah, I think it could. I definitely think it could.
Enemy at waypoint.
Me and my
I
roommates
think
played.
I think
Tribes
there's
for
enough
years.
people that want a skillful game that has that kind of mobility. I mean, nothing else exists.
All right, I have a really weird opinion here, and you guys can all tell me I'm an idiot. But I sort of feel like part of the problem with some of the modern takes is that like I just think capture the flag doesn't resonate with today's kids because they didn't actually play capture the flag outside. Like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like it's just I don't know. There's something to me about even if you just changed the name and made it more like came up with a different story and called it something different. But I just feel like kids don't get capture the flag. So even if you look at other game modes like Call of Duty and what's the other like milsim game like that? Battlefield, yeah, like the capture the flag modes and like in those games I feel like or like Halo just like never resonate as much as the other modes do, and part of me thinks it's just like kids don't play capture the flag outside anymore, and so it's sort of like like you just kind of like part of me thinks that's and this is like my weird conspiracy theory. It's like capture the flag's just like a weird game mode now because kids don't know what it is and they're like, why are we doing this?
I think that's completely accurate. But
it's not just that. I think one of the like I was saying before, I think one of the big failures that like a lot of the other post T1 and T2, like everything, mid-air, regions, the other one that I forgot the name of, like the again, like the flexibility that this game has is like, I'm gonna be super real with you. I was never a base guy. I was always shifter and annihilation. Like, but those were non-standard. Those were non-standard, right? Those weren't part of the game. They didn't ship with the game. But that's like when you think about it, the majority of Tribes' longevity and what made it successful was its modability. It was like Legos with guns. Like you could do whatever the fuck you wanted.
I think also tribes is like very different things to different people. Like Lion and me are like sweaty LT players. Most of my Tribes 1 experience is with LT. And I love base and I miss base, but like I've played more hours of LT than I have base. But then and then there's Tribes 2 fans who, like, for them it's like, I think Tribes 2 like people who love Tribes 2 actually want Battlefield more than they want Tribes. Like, not, I'm using hyperbole here, but I think hopefully you get what I mean. Like, they want these big maps, they want vehicles, they want 1 million deployables, and then so like these, and then shifter players or Renegades players want even more deployables and a slower gameplay. So I feel like it's different for everybody. Like, I guess.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, Tribes created battlefields. Like, it was capture and holds, right? I mean, and that's what I look at. Like, a lot of these other games that have been born out of different game modes, and that's kind of the cool thing out of it. Like, we had no idea. I was trying everything I could think of. Right? If somebody came up with a good idea and we could figure out how to map a rule set to it, like, yeah, let's try it. Right? As long as it meant there was a team versus a team and something that we can interact with the world, like, who knows? Right? And that to me was like we had complete freedom.
Yeah, we've been talking about bringing back, like, tonight we did like a base event. We've been talking about trying to do like capture and hold, find and retrieve, defend and destroy. Maybe doing like one of each, doing like a little mini tournament where you have to play different teams on each one of those game modes. Just to like bring back some of these things that we haven't seen in years in the Tribes community, but they were, like you said, foundational to the entire game industry.
Yeah. I mean, and that to me is like, that's what I feel good about. Did they sell 1 million copies? No. Did we make any money on it? No. You guys love it? Yes. That's the point.
Well, it's kind of like It's kind of like those '80s movies that go on to become like cult classic things, right? Like, even though it may not have been like a commercial, it may not have retired off of Tribes 1. Like, it has this lasting impact on
Oh, it's definitely affected my life. I mean, it's given me a lot of opportunities. And it's affecting like the company that I'm working with now. Like, you know, my history. This game affects what we do in the future, so it's all good.
Hell yeah. What is Tribes to you? Like, between kind of the, I mean, when you said, when I asked what could Tribes be successful today, you said, yeah, I think people want the high skill mobility, and I was interested to hear you say that, because like again, for a lot of T2 people, it's the vehicles, it's the bases, like.
Is it? I mean,
a lot of
for me,
a lot of people,
Tribes 1
yes.
is about, I mean, the vehicles were part of it. For me, it was all about the player skill. It's your mobility, your aim. The vehicle is an accentuation of that. It can make you do different things. You know, that maybe somebody that doesn't have that vehicle can do, but for me, it's always been purely about my aim, my skill.
Totally.
I will say the number of people who refuse to give Tribes 3 a chance because it doesn't have the vehicles and base play, it is a big part of gameplay for a lot of us, including me.
Yeah.
For the strategy and the teamwork, yes, I get you. But on the one-on-one, like the mono-on-mono, it's all about aim and mobility. And predictability.
Tribes can't do that too?
Yeah.
I mean, and that is why Tribes was built the way it was. So let me go back to that. Like the heavy armors, all the different things. It was built for different skills, right? And I understood that. Like, people wanted to do different things. Not everybody is a flag capper. Some people wanted to defend the flag with heavy armor, right? And that to me was freedom to play the game that you wanted to play. And that's what Tribes has always been.
I feel so seen right now.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I think that is what Tribes Ascend, and I mean, especially Tribes 3, I think got so wrong, was there was really little freedom in how you wanted to play it. Like, it was so streamlined. And I say this as an LT guy, right? But yes, that resonates.
Yeah. I mean, and that to me was always the point. And even in like Firefall, those were some of the same design intents. It's like, people have different skills, they have different things that they want to contribute, and they should feel great. Doesn't matter what they do, as long as they're doing what they're good at doing with whatever that class does, they should feel good about doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Blizzard really tried to do that with Overwatch as well, like give people who have different skills and desires to do different things. But it ended up in like characters like Mercy, who just, especially in Overwatch 1, it got better in Overwatch 2, but like, just really boring to play, like not a fun character to play, but people still play the hell love Mercy because they don't want to be shoot and they still want to be part of the team.
So it's funny you bring up Overwatch because that was supposed to be PvE. It was supposed to be an MMO, right?
Yep.
And they bailed on. Well, I have a personal kind of angst about Overwatch because a lot of the people that worked at Red 5 back to Blizzard to work on Overwatch. It took a lot of our design with them. Okay, so it kind of annoyed me. Anyway.
Oh, nice.
I like hearing the random, like, people playing the Tribes right now, like, nice shot. like
yeah.
It's funny, just like catch the little
Dude, the voice commands in this game bring back just such feels for me.
Dude, absolutely. And I have a vitriolic hatred of what do you call it? Like, in every single multiplayer shooter has like the comm system where you like press a button and there's like a ring of things and you have to choose one and you have to use your mouse and whatever, and it's so bad and I hate it, and it's so limited.
Garbage.
And I'm just like, with 3 key taps I can say anything I want in Tribes.
And they're all in the left hand, which was was the whole design.
Oh wait, I got one more question.
Now.
One more question.
What was the ESDF movement set for? Well,
ESDF?
Yeah, in Tribes 2. That was the default.
Oh, I didn't set that. My fault.
I actually kind of think that makes sense because then you get 2 keys to the left.
No,
Yeah.
That's bad.
It permanently
That's
scarred
bad.
me, okay? It permanently scarred me. I still play like that.
I do too. Every game I changed it to.
ESDF, because you get extra keys in your pinky. I just want to know what type of.
Capture the objective.
It was an intelligent choice that the rest of the community did not stick up with.
And I didn't make it, so I can't
Attack enemy at
pay
waypoint.
for or deny it.
Get
So
the enemy flag.
people either love it or hate it. And you
No,
can
I love
rebind
it.
your
Awesome.
keys to be whatever you want. So
You can, but like ESDF is such a. That's,
I can
that's
talk
a
way more
choice.
shit with ESDF.
Attack enemy at waypoint.
I mean, it makes sense.
Return our flag to our base.
I mean, sure, I guess. I don't know. I feel like
Attack enemy
by
at
when
waypoint.
T2 came out, the WASD was already like well established as just the way to do it. Even if it wasn't the best way, it was just.
Get the enemy flag.
It's kind of like making a shooter where you have to use like a driving, like a fucking driving wheel to move. It's like why? Why would you do that?
So you guys aren't using controllers to play this?
Yeah, I'm using the Steam controller.
I'm using my steering wheel in the Scout right now.
Somebody played with
yeah.
a joystick back in.
Oh, that's Tribes 2. That's A's from that old part. He only plays with the joystick.
There's that dude Severed who literally used a throttle for his jet. Like he had like a throttle attachment.
That's awesome.
Which I don't get because there's only one. it's
just on or
binary.
off.
It's on or off. So why would you use a throttle?
Attack enemy at flag.
I love that. Thing.
If you want to go faster, you got to press the gas.
Going off.
I mean, Scott, we appreciate you joining us. Any, I guess if anyone has any last questions, I don't want to keep you too long. Sounds like you're just hanging out having a beer anyway, but
I'm just watching you guys play, so it's all good.
Who you watching right now? Who's stream?
Fish Sticks.
oh, I'm not even like thinking about my gameplay. I'm just chatting.
Oh, he's totally fucking ruining it, but whatever.
Scott's over there just judging you like, man, this guy, he's fucking terrible.
I did not
actually,
design this game for him to be shit.
He's made some pretty good shots. I've been propping him.
I had a couple good mid-airs.
Come get some.
And that's what this game is about. Those, I got it.
They want to put on Canyon Crusade.
Fuck yeah, Canyon Crusade.
Fuck yeah.
I thought you guys were gonna play Scarbray.
We were supposed to,
Roller
and then everyone else
coaster.
forgot about it.
We
Oh,
did,
yeah,
roller
Coaster.
We played Roller Coaster.
Again.
we did Scarebray,
2 nights ago, right?
not the most recent one, but like a couple of these events. It might be like a year or two ago at this point, honestly, because they've been a little bit intermittent.
Right.
But yeah, we definitely did Scarebray, and we had like 20v20, and it was so fun just watching all the HPCs flying over, jumping off on the roof. Like
Yeah.
it was ridiculous.
Alright, so you guys are salts. You played all the maps. I'm gonna ask you a very poignant question. So there were 2 maps that are very similar. Broadside,
Blastside.
Yep.
and then Blastside. And
We played Broadside tonight.
You know the history of Blastside.
I don't think so.
No.
So I made Blastside based purely off of feedback that I got off of Broadside. All the shit that people bitched about, fixed on that. And then I released that without changing the other map, just to see if people would prefer one or the other. And the amount of hate mail I got from Blastside, which was a brand new map that didn't change Broadside at all, was profound. Why? What are you doing for that map? So what do you guys think about those 2 maps?
I like
I love
Blastside better.
Broadsides. No, you're wrong. Incorrect opinion.
I like them both the same amount. Like they're this like
It's the same fucking thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like the
Not
flag.
that different.
Which ones where the flag is in like the command screen room, not in the
Blastside. Yeah,
Okay,
so Blastside has it in the main lobby room thing, and then
Yeah.
Broadside has it tucked away in that back hallway.
I think it's a bit too deep in there on Broadside, I have to say.
Yeah, I kind of it just makes it's almost impossible. You know, if you're playing a competent team, it's almost impossible to get it between the turrets and guys in shield, heavy and shield. Like you just can't get there fast enough to put enough pressure to get that thing out of that hall. Once you get people who are good. At least in the lobby, it's a little bit like you can kind of sneak in. You can drop down from the top. You can come in from the front. You can move. Yeah, I don't know. So I tend to like the more accessible flag just from a speed perspective.
So I'm hearing, correct me, this was an incorrect assessment, that Blastside was the better map.
I'll be honest, like, people, I feel like I've played 10 times more Broadside than Blastside. I, like, don't even really remember playing a ton of Blastside. Because I feel like Broadside was just the pub map. Everyone just would just go there.
Yeah.
In Annihilation, you can put up the force fields, and they can't get into your base.
Yeah, and I think part of me, it's probably because like in the way the game developed to like more speed, like clustering, like if your base got taken, just like forgetting about it and just going full light and just like slamming them with the 8 offense and then just having 2 people on defense and then ultimately LT. It's really just all about speed and pressure. So it's like less about, okay, like we're all gonna leave at the same time and like we're gonna send a mortar blast and the capper comes in. It's like you just have to keep that pressure up. And I think that with the way the flag's tucked back on Broadside, if I'm getting them correct, it's so hard to get that pressure and to actually like do something to their base, you know what I mean? So it's it becomes just like a stalemate very quickly, and then you're just like, it can get a little bit where you're just like, what do we do? Like, and you're just stuck. Whereas, you know, if you can move the flag, if things are happening, it's a little more dynamic, a little more intense, I guess.
I think that was
Thinking about it now, I think that if that base had a backside, like, enter the base, escape with the flag, but that's the only way you could do it from the backside, would have been awesome. Right? Use the backside of the ball.
Yes, that back bowl has so much potential, and like when we play it like the LT version where the base is sealed up, you'll see people like kind of like routing from back there and like going back there to hold the flag, but it's kind of far away and it's like not. There was no reason to do it.
So this map that you're looking at right now was the single most amount of time that I spent modifying terrain in any tribes map.
Dangerous Crossing?
And so the reason that this terrain is so angular versus everything else is I was trying to build for how the terrain averaged, so that when it was scoping down from a distance, you wouldn't see the peaks go away.
So you're why I can't move around this map at all.
Oh, it's a hard angular map.
Skill issue.
Just vertex jump.
I'll tell you that Dangerous Crossing and Stonehenge are the 2 maps we play on repeat in the Light Tribes version. I think it is because Stonehenge 2 has very difficult terrain, so I think there's just something about the
the peril.
Okay.
It's peril, right? You have progression, but you can fuck up like just being a little bit off. Right? And that was the point.
Yeah, and I think that's what, you know, for those of us who love the movement and like the competitive nature and the speed, Stonehenge and Dangerous Crossing have that combination of like speed of the player and speed of the game, and like that's kind of what we play. Just like
Stonehenge was one of the maps that I spent more time like, oh, what are the routes, and massaging the routes to make sure that
really
it worked. Yeah.
So you created the Nat route. Maybe.
Yes. That was emotional. Like, skiing was awesome. Let's make that shit work.
This whole time I thought all the routes were just like a massive coincidence. Cause
no, I was designing for that.
Nice.
It could have been better. I'm not gonna lie.
Were there any maps that you didn't design that you saw someone else making a big fucking mistake on, but I can't say anything?
No, because I would go in and fix all those.
He's the fucking man, dude.
60 hours a week. 60 hours a week. I mean, I think that's the one thing. I really enjoy midair. Like, I'm a big midair fan, and I love the movement and skiing and physics in midair. I think it's really fun. But the one thing that Tribes 1 has that no other tribes, including Tribes 2, has, is it's kind of like an artifact of kind of like the kind of really angular, janky kind of terrain, but the ways that
I
they
call it
use
peril.
peril, yeah.
Hey, you're gonna hit something. Your movement is gonna be impacted. It's not the fucking snow cones of the current Tribes 3 game.
Yeah, exactly. But like in Tribes 1, you know, when you see skilled cappers, you see them zooming in on each individual vertex because they're gonna land at the very most precisest. It's not even just like, oh, I'm gonna use this hill. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna use this part of the hill. It's like, no, I'm gonna use this exact little bump in the terrain. And I think that's what's given Tribes 1 so much longevity, especially from like a capping and skiing perspective.
That was the whole physics angle, right? It's like all that shit mattered. I mean, skiing. I don't know if you get. Well, you've heard the story, right? I mean, skiing was an accident.
Yeah.
Right. You know, Dave Moore was checking collision before checking the jump, or the other way around. Anyway, once we understood that was fun, hells yes, we're gonna design for it. It was awesome. You know, and you can be hopeful when you're working on games to have that kind of a outside of the box happy accident that lets you do something cool that nobody else has seen before. And Tribes was a game that nobody else had seen before. They arguably still haven't.
That's true.
I'd say so. Well, I'm coming up on 5 hours of streaming here. I'm probably gonna turn off the stream in a bit.
All right. Well, it's been great hanging out with you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any last things you want to share about the history of Dynamix or Tribes or anything?
All right, I'll share one last thing. So when we were working on Tribes, Dynamix was starting to go through some shit. Getting to be a larger company and more corporate control. And one of the things that I had always loved about working at Dynamix, like the very first company meeting I'd ever been at, was this guy named Dave Selly. Filled in this cart full of all these kinds of different beer, and everybody went for it two-handed. I was like, holy shit, this company is awesome. At that point, it was like, 26 people. And I saw it grow to, upwards of 300. And then it got too corporate, and they're like, can't drink beer at work anymore. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? This is bullshit. And so when we were coming out with Tribes 2, we were doing an IRC. This is right after they told us you can't drink beer at work. I was like, fuck that and fuck you. And in the IRC, like someone says, so hey, I want to get into beta. What do we do? My first response was, send beer. And then I gave them the address for Dynamix, which was 1600 Millrace Drive. And holy shit, the amount of beer that we got sent to us, which we weren't supposed to be able to drink. They were like, okay. So yeah, that to me was like one of my favorite things on working on this game, was being able to just draw the community in and really kind of let them be part of this. Did the same thing at Firefall as well. We did the Beer Forbidden program.
Actually, I do remember that. I went to the Red 5 office for like one of your early tests, and I actually casted it, and I do remember drinking beer out of kegs.
Yeah. So, never give up on your dreams.
Sick.
All right. Well, it's been great hanging with you guys.
Same,
Awesome.
man.
Yeah.
Keep
thank you
playing
so much.
Tribes.
Yeah, we will. You know it.
Always.
And maybe I'll install it and play with you. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Oh, you
It's,
got better.
That'd be awesome.
That would be
It's
super
very
cool.
easy now.
Get some.
Yeah,
We've-
thanks
we've
for
made it
putting
as
no
simple as we
DRM
can.
protection in there, because that helped us out a lot.
Yeah. All right. Well, happy ding dong.
GG's.
Yeah. See ya.
Thank you so much, and Fish, thank you for organizing and getting all these.
Yeah,
wonderful
I mean,
folks here.
I did not organize Scott to come in. He just popped in the stream, and I said, hey, you should join Discord.
I'm just a rando screwing with
yeah.
all you guys.
Yeah. That would be something.
All right. Adios.
See you, man.
Yeah,
Thanks,
take it
Fish.
easy, guys.
We'll talk to you soon.
Hey, let's do it again, maybe.
100%. Yeah, this was great.
All right.
Can we all just take a second to appreciate how surreal that conversation, the last hour has been?
Yeah. So surreal. I don't
Yeah,
really
that was
get
cool.
I don't really get starstruck that often, but I was like a little bit starstruck for a second there.
Right? Like how can you not be?